Wanted to crochet for a minute before I had to go to court. Could not sleep last night, so howdy. Everybody's been wanting to see what I'm learning, so here I am. I learn by watching people on tutorials until I know what the crap I'm doing. Not that I think I ever really know what I'm doing. Ever.
Then I'm going to go back into the first chain that I made and make a slip stitch. So this makes a little ring.
I hate slip stitches with little tiny yarn.
Okay, next I'm going to chain 4 again. And then I'm going to make a double crochet in the center of that chain 4 ring. So yarn over, go into the center, yarn over and pull through. So I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2. Okay, so this chain 4 counts as a double crochet and a chain 1.
My yarn
So
split.
we need 8 posts.
You ever crochet and your yarn splits? It's not nice. I'm going to leave this up so y'all can see. You just have to kind of latch onto a tutorial and be like, I'm going to learn this. I want to do a different blanket stitch because I don't want to make the next blanket a snuggler. I want to make it an actual blanket. So I'm trying to learn a new blanket stitch.
So there's 2 there. Chain 1.
Chain 1, yes.
Okay, so make a double crochet.
Double crochet again.
Chain 1. Okay, double crochet into the center and a chain 1 afterwards. So now you have 4 posts. So just 4 to go. Make sure you remember to do the chain 1 after each double crochet.
I'm not going to guarantee I will remember to do it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to have to undo this and go back and work on my tension. I'm just trying to get the rhythm of the stitch down right now.
Okay, and you want to finish with the chain 1 and then slip stitch to the 3rd chain in the starting chain 4. Okay, so it looks like a little wagon wheel with
It does.
8 double crochets. Okay, in the next row, we're going to slip stitch into this chain 1 space.
Huh. And where does the next row go?
Chain 3. And this chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Next, we're going to go back into the same chain 1 space and make 1 double crochet.
Oh, okay. I see what she's doing. I'm trying to learn.
Okay.
Everybody's wanting to know how I'm learning to crochet. It's trial and error and watching a lot of people.
And then make 2 double crochets in the next chain 1 space.
I just wanted to crochet a few minutes before I had to go to court, get something productive done before I have to go and sit and listen to everybody's whiny stories. Y'all, I'm retired. I don't want to be back in the courtroom. But sadly, I got to go there today. Not happy about it.
In the next chain 1 space.
Let's see. And then you slip stitch to here, pull it over.
Chain 2.
I hate slip stitches with little thread. It's a pain in the butt. Okay. So there's my little wagon wheel.
Crochets.
Not a very good one. But then you chain 1.
Chain 2.
Oh, you chain 3. Sorry. 2.
2 double crochets.
My yarn has split. Give me a moment.
Chain 2.
1, 2,
2 in the next
3.
one.
And so we just keep getting a bigger wheel going. Is that all we do? Okay, so apparently you just keep getting a bigger wheel going.
Chain 2.
I don't know. Chain 1. Hey, listen. Is she chaining 2? Yes, she's chaining 2. Oh, Lord, I got to remember to do that now. When they do things different than the way they did it the first time, it messes with my brain, y'all.
Okay, and you want to finish this row off with a chain 2. And then slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3 that you made.
It messes with my brain. When they say it's a repeating pattern and then they don't repeat, it irritates me just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think the plushies that you make are easier than the blankets. It may just be because I enjoy making them more, so I think they're easier. But I'm making loveys for family members that are expecting, so I'm learning blanket stitches right now. I'd rather be making plushies. I like to make wildlife plushies, and but I've got to finish. I've got another unicorn lovey to finish before I can move on to my next thing. And so I'm trying to learn how to do this, and it's not my most favorite thing in the world, but it has to be done to be able to do everything I want to do. So, I mean, it's nice to learn different stitches and techniques, but with a blanket, it just turns into a blanket. With plushies, it turns into something really neat. So, and I'll have to undo all of this and start over. I'm just trying to get the pattern down in my hands, and then I'll have to go back and work on my tension. And this yarn keeps splitting, so I'll have to also deal with that. I may pick me a different yarn. I wanted to do it with this one because it matches the colors in the unicorn, but I don't know. It's splitting something horrible. If you want to see somebody that can crochet really good, go watch Going Crochetzy. She's awesome. She's absolutely awesome. I really enjoy her videos. But I'm retired parole officer, did taxidermy, hunted hogs my whole life, got a neuromuscular disorder. So my training horses and hunting and stuff kind of went out the window as much as I like for it to, because I can't do as much. I've had too many leg surgeries and stuff. And now I've got grandbabies. I've got 3 grandbabies, and I've got twins. My daughter has twins. And so I end up wanting to make them things. And I don't like to sew as much as my mother. So my daughter enjoys the crochet stuff, and she wanted certain crochet things to go on their beds just for like display. And I was like, oh, I can make that. And so I started crocheting, and I never stopped. And so here we are. I'm actually going to make them snug slugglers. Yes, slug snugglers next. Okay, so there's my next one. I mean, it's not very good, but it's not horrible. Well, I'm gonna be nice to myself. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. Mostly, it's how heavy do you want it? How much coverage do you want the baby to have? And do you want it to be pretty or usable? I just don't want it to fall apart. So, But now, like, this is new, and I don't. My hands are not the best today. I'm having kind of one of my not so great hand days. Um, I have it's kind of like MS. What I have, it acts a lot like MS. But I used to do taxidermy and spend hours a week fleshing animal hides, and my hands were trained to do other things. I worked chicken houses, I halter rope show cattle, and now I'm crocheting. So my hands are going, what are we doing? But it's good. My physical therapist says it's really good for my hands, and it has helped my arthritis because I'm using my hands so much more than I used to now. But if you go back and watch my other crafting videos when I'm making my native stuff and making my ceremonial sticks and my dream catchers and my bone jewelry, I enjoy that. That's like what I like to do. I do enjoy crochet, but I'd rather be crocheting like a wildlife plushie or a really nice realistic wildlife pattern. But family members get married and have kids, and they need a blanket every once in a while. So I gotta figure this one out too, and that's okay. I'll do it. At least it takes up time because I was used to working 90 hours a week, and now I am home and just trying to stay out of the hospital and healthy. And so I literally will do anything to stay busy because I hate being idle. Absolutely hate being idle. I don't know if this is going to be my favorite pattern. They said it was I was looking at a Speedy Granny Ruth pattern, and they would show them doing it, but they wouldn't slow down and show you how to do it. So I couldn't really replicate that one. So I gave up on that and went to this. The only thing about this is it works in a circle, and when you can't feel most of your fingers, it gets a little irritating trying to work it in a circle when it bunches. So I'm going to have to make peace with that. Maybe as it gets heavier, it won't bunch anymore. I don't know. But I'm not doing a very good job right now. But I'm just trying to get the rhythm of it. I can undo it and start again when I get the rhythm of the pattern. If my yarn would stop splitting, that would be awesome. And also, when you want pretty yarn, because of the colors, but you really need blanket yarn because of the thing you're doing, I will opt for pretty every time, and it will get me in the worst baubles with patterns. But the next thing I'm going to crochet, I'm going to do the slug snugglers for my grandbabies. But I've got a pattern I found on Etsy. It's called Juicy Booty Bigfoot. If you've seen the Cheeky Turtles, it's Bigfoot just with a butt. He's got butt cheeks. Look like he's got all those yoga roost leggings. I thought it was hilarious. So I'm going to crochet it. I thought it was funny. Made me laugh. Made me snort at 2 a.m. So that means I have to crochet it. And I'm thinking, I told David, I said, if it turns out good, he can just put it in his Etsy store. Also, if you want to see my husband's Etsy store, it is Hillbilly Heart Decor. And he's a trapper and tanner. And if I make something really nice, because he buys all my crafting supplies to do my physical therapy, I let him have it to put it in the shop. It's not a big deal. My health and my mother's health, I'm normally on the cattle farm with my parents, and I have to be up here this week for a doctor's appointment in court. So I'm just trying to waste time and keep myself busy because 9 times out of 10, I'm very busy when I'm at mom and dad's on the farm. They live on a cattle farm. Mom's health has not been doing the greatest. So that's normally where I am. Okay, we're gonna have to give more um, wide berth as we go out, so it doesn't pucker. I'm just learning what to do at this point. That's all I'm doing is just learning what to do. So I'm going to add a chain stitch, and then I'm going to do 2 in every My eyesight is not great today. Then I'm going to do two double crochets in every opening so that it lays flatter. That's my plan. I don't know if it'll work. We'll see after one ring if it'll work. I don't know if it's gonna work. I just kind of wing it, and then if it doesn't work, I frog it and start over. Which it makes you kind of sad when you have to take out work you've worked on, but at the same time, if you don't like it, you're not gonna enjoy looking at it, so you might as well redo it. So, but I'm basically playing. I thought I'd pop on. I've got an alarm set to sound so I know when I need to get up and leave, but I thought I want to do something I want to do for 5 minutes before I have to go to court and take care of this idiot. So if you haven't watched my channel, hi, my name's Liz, and I'm a retired parole officer and counselor. I have a neuromuscular disorder that's attacking my organs, and now I'm finally home because the hospitalizations just became too numerous and the doctors told me to stop. So I stopped working. I'm not very happy about that. But about a year and a half ago, the lady that lives up behind me across my pasture through the woods, through a little copse of trees, I don't know how long she'd had her habit. But from what I saw, it looked like a meth addiction, and she was in her backyard firing guns and screaming about the little green men stealing her trees. And for some reason, I guess because we were the only house that she could see from the trees, she thought that we were helping the little green men steal the trees. And so she began firing at our house. Hang on, my camera's got a smudge on it. She began firing at our house. And I kept reporting it to the law. They would be like, well, we don't hear anything. Well, no, if you drive about 35 miles per hour, I don't expect you can. But I finally had to get snippy, and I had to live stream one of her nastier nights. It's still on my page if you want to go look it up. And they did finally come arrest her, and they found her in the woods, shooting toward my house, screaming. She was screaming at me that she was about effing done. I was about effing had it. And listen, I don't know this woman. Don't have anything to do with her. I've heard of her because of her past, but like I don't know her. But she was down in the woods with a .22 long barrel that night. She had changed from a handgun to a little rifle, which is a very potent, deadly little rifle if it hits you. 22s may not scare some people, but that little bullet had cut through a lot, and I've seen 22s do lots of damage. I used to do the homicide pre-sentence investigations for the court. So that was, I didn't take that as an act of kindness at that point. When they caught her coming out of the woods with that long barrel, they took her into custody, and they were like, oh crap, that woman wasn't, no, I wasn't lying. Dispatch heard the gunshots. Why would I lie? My big thing was it was getting on to late spring, and there are kids that live in the neighborhood over past her, and I was afraid she would start shooting at them because she would shoot all times of the day and night, just whenever the paranoia took over. And it was just really difficult. I mean, it was just really difficult. My health was not good. I had been very sick, and then I got worse with all the stress. And I left and just kind of moved in with mom and dad because I couldn't take it. My husband was irritated that he was like, just don't let him bother you. I was like, but listen, she's firing magazines and clips and clips and clips after all day long, all hours of the day, and you're never here, and I'm the one that has to deal with it. It's irritating me, and I'm not resting. I'm not able to feel safe in the yard. I've had to evacuate the backyard when bullets went over my head. I had to get out of my pool when I was doing physical therapy one day because I was afraid she was going to shoot me. And so my husband was irritated that I was, I had called law enforcement, and I was like, this is going to have to be dealt with. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not living like this. And we kind of got into a tiff about it, and then my health got really bad. He doesn't do very well when my health goes, downhill. And so I just have basically been with mom and dad for the most part. I come up here to save my nurses some travel when I have physical therapy because I'm way down the mountain on a cattle farm in the back of a road. And I come up here if I have like more than one doctor's visit or more than one appointment that week, and I'll stay up here to save myself a bunch of driving up and down the mountain. We're not mad at each other, but we just quite haven't figured out where we stand on everything. And I don't particularly want to live here. And he doesn't want to move because he feels like he lets them win if he moves. So we're at a standoff with what's going to happen. And it's just been even more drama. A few weeks ago, the neighbor's house, with the one neighbor we have over here, their house burnt. They left a heater or something on and had gone to a medical appointment. I had just gone to sleep because that was the night all the tornadoes come through. I had just laid down and maybe been asleep 15, 20 minutes. And my husband had gone out to work in the fur shed. And I was trying to rest because I needed to go back down the hill to the cattle farm. I had gone to the doctor and been up here and was ready to go back down to the cattle farm. And the neighbor that lives the road over, the smoke was blowing straight to her house. It was a really windy day. That helped. Adding two and everyone helped. She came over to see if it was, what was going on, and she started knocking on the door, beating on the door, and she woke me up, and I was like, and I was still in a daze, and she said, your neighbor's house is on fire, which I didn't know if they were home or not, so immediately it freaked me out. She was knocking on the siding. I was screaming like a banshee, trying to wake anybody up. And we got vehicles moved because the fire department cannot fit in their driveway the way they have their trailer placed. So we moved everything out of my yard so that the firefighters could and the EMS could park in my yard and my barn lot. So my barn lot, yard, everything was full. I was packing cold water to the firefighters because they're all volunteer, and just trying to help. And I didn't know if they were home or not. And so I was just trying to do anything to keep myself occupied. And finally, my husband had meandered through all the EMS people and to see if I was okay. And my legs were really tired. And I said, I'm going to have to get somewhere and rest for a little while. I said, my muscles are going to shut down. And he said, I told them that their door, he said, I saw it. It was locked from the outside. They were gone. And that's when I finally took a breath and I felt better because I didn't know where they were. And, your mind always goes to the worst case scenario when it comes to fires. And so that's the first time I breathed since the fire started. So, and then they bought a little building for their son to live in over here, which is not legal. And then they put it like 24 inches from my property line, which is not legal, which could interfere with my homeowner's insurance if something happens. And you don't want to be a butthole and say, excuse me, you're not supposed to do that. But at the same time, you don't want your homeowner's insurance null and voided because, and it's like I have one neighbor and you had to put your house right there. So I'm trying to be nice about it, and I'm at the same place, and I'm up here because I have 2 appointments this week. I had to go to court today. I've got my brakes to get fixed Wednesday morning, and then I've got a repeat EKG and doctor's appointment Thursday. And so if I'm running that much, I just stay up here to save myself all the driving because it's just exhausting. But I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be up here. I can't sit on my porch without seeing a burnt out, nasty old house they haven't even picked anything up from when it happened. Everything the firefighters raked out is still just laying all over the place. They act like they don't see it. I did put up a block on the fence, a mesh block on the fence to keep the trash from blowing through the fence into my yard. I know, it's just, I don't know. It used to be a nice neighborhood. Kids would be playing softball in the open field and riding bikes. And at some point, a lot of the younger families faded out or moved, and the land was cheap enough at that point where a lot of questionable people started moving in, and a lot of the questionable people then told their family members to move in, and the next thing you know, you've got a neighborhood that is just 90% questionable people, and I just don't want to be here anymore. I'm too sick to deal with crap. I don't want to deal with crap. I'm a very quiet person. I'm a good neighbor. I keep my yard pretty, my house clean, and I leave you alone unless you poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. And so I just don't want to be here anymore. And I don't rest well. I didn't sleep at all hardly last night. I slept for maybe an hour I kept hearing somebody come in and go out, and I'm sure it was the son of the people whose trailer over here burnt. But I couldn't rest, and so I've not slept good. And I'm just trying to get through this week and get through all my appointments so I can get back down to the farm so I can sleep at the farm on the back end, the very end of the very end of the very end of the road. And it's a huge cattle farm and security cameras everywhere. And if somebody comes down the road, we've got multiple cameras that tell us, and 5,000 dogs and the cows. And you have to have a reason to come down that road that far. And so I feel safer down there. And it wasn't until probably November, December that I felt okay enough to stay up here for appointments. I was running myself ragged going up and down the hill. And then with the winter, I would get snowed in places. That was not fun. So I got snowed in here a few times and couldn't go down. My nurse would not want me far away from the ER and trapped on that back road to the farm with my health the way it was. So she would say, stay up here for a little while. But I'd have to eventually say, no, I've got to go back and rest because I don't rest here. I don't do well here. So we're at a standoff. Me and my husband are at a standoff. We don't want a divorce, but at this point, we can't. I don't want to live here. It's just simple. I just don't want to live here. So that's where we are. That's why I have to go to court, and I'm frustrated that, and my husband couldn't get any time off from work, so he talked to the district attorney yesterday, and he said I've got to be in Nashville. He said, due to the weather, I'm only going to get like 3 days to work this week. He said, I hate to lose one to a dope head. And they said, well, the charges that you filed, that you reported when they took his report, will be dropped. And he said, well, he said, Liz has still got all the other ones on her. And they said, yes. And he said, that's fine. He said, I just don't have time for this. So I get to handle that alone today. I do a lot of crap on my own. And the reason I'm doing it is because there are still children in this neighborhood. And if she does not have some kind of ramification for her behavior, my worst fear is she's going to continue her piss poor decision making skills and meth addiction. And she's going to end up being high and paranoid one day when the kids come out to play. And then we're all going to see what she's capable of. That's my worst fear. And I'm not okay with her as close as she lives. She's just, gosh, 60 foot from other people's windows. She just got paranoid about little green men stealing her trees for some reason and got, hyper fixated on my property line and my little red house. So it's redwood stain. It's log cabin siding with redwood stain. So I guess we're lucky she wanted to shoot at me and not, the children's homes. But I also talked to other neighbors over there. I call them neighbors. We live in the same dissected farmland. And they said, oh, yeah, she's been high and come to our back door with a gun and accosted us. I said, well, why don't you report it? And they said, well, we're scared of her. We're scared if she finds out, she'll do something to us. I said, she's already coming to your home with a gun in her hand. What else is she going to do? How much worse can it get, people? Sack up. That's where I'm at. What did I crochet first? Oh, that dinosaur. And I did blanket yarn, and it was horrible. It was horrible. Oh, the YouTube crochet is Going Crochetzy. She is awesome. She does a lot of pattern reviews. She does market preps. She does a lot of crochet with me. She gets on live and crochets with you. Super sweet. Answers lots of questions. Helps you find free patterns and kind of, learn the ropes. Very sweet woman. I've enjoyed her channel quite a bit. And then there's this little grandma figure that has a channel, and she just has the camera on her hands, and she just crochets patterns the whole way through and records herself, and you can just follow along with her. It's like spending time with your grandma. It's lovely. It's nice. I've needed to chill out hobby with all this crap from the last year and a half. I thought when I retired due to my health and had this disorder, life would be calm and I would be away from all the crazies because I wouldn't be working anymore. Because all I've ever done is work with mentally, emotionally, or criminally deficit individuals. um, and but no, guess not. I guess they're just gonna follow me everywhere I go. I just want to be left alone. I just need to be calm and deal with my disorder and be left alone. And I certainly don't go out of my way to harm anybody or ruin anybody's day. And I just wish I could get the same kindness from others. It'd be awful nice. Be awful nice. Oh, and whoever told me to look up penny shopping at the Dollar General, I looked it up. We have extremely rural Dollar Generals, but I'm going to research it some more and see and watch the videos and see exactly what it is and see if I can do it too. I'm basically bored enough I will try to do anything. I'll be like, sure, I'll try that hobby. Sure, I'll try that hobby. So I'm going to try the penny because I'm poor as a whippoorwill. So I'm going to try the penny shopping at the Dollar General. I don't know if it will work. There is a lady that coupons and shows you exactly what you can buy on Saturdays at the Dollar General to spend like $40 on, and but only have like 7 coming out of your pocket. And I forget the name of her channel. I am sorry. If you look up couponing, she loves Disney and does CVS and Walgreens and Walmart and Dollar General. You'll find her. And I'm trying to learn from her just to, and it's just kind of like, trying to learn a new skill because, I still read up on the psych stuff that's changing and all that. I try to stay up to speed. I'm, still in trade with forensic psychology and with the correction field and all that stuff. But at the same time, I don't like to overly stress myself out. So I try to balance it these days. And I only look into that stuff if I'm feeling really great and want to challenge myself. This would have been a cute, if you'd done it thicker, this would have been a cute pot holder. Because my mother quilts, and I like to quilt, I like to sew, but I like to abstract sew. I don't like to pattern sew. I really like to abstract sew. And I just like for a quilt to kind of take its shape naturally, if that's possible. I hate slip stitches with little yarn. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hang on. This yarn's killing me. Okay, had I added on the first round, it wouldn't have puckered like that. So when I go back and redo this, I'm gonna have to add on the first round and keep adding 1 each round, so it grows, but so it won't pucker. Because see, now I've got extra, and it'll keep growing, and it won't pucker like the first round did. So not bad. I mean, it'd be cute. I like the colors. It'd go with that big unicorn head that's going to be on top of. Well, the unicorn head will hook in here, so maybe I don't have to frog that because I will literally sew that whole first ring onto the unicorn. So I may just keep going and make this a blanket because that will all be sewed to the unicorn's head. I don't think they'll let me in with a crochet hook to the courtroom, so I don't think I can take it with me. Darn. I hate going to court. I lived in court for a decade with my job. I hate going to court. Going crochet-zy. I don't remember if she puts a T in it or not. I think she does. Crochet ZY. She's good. Oh, Mary, I didn't rest. Kept hearing people over yonder coming in and out, and they're up to no good when they're doing that all night. And there's my alarm. Hey, Google, stop the alarm. So I didn't rest. I didn't have a good night. I've got a sweater to put on over this. So, oh, that's a horrible shade. So, but I'm fixing to leave now. I put my hair up, but I've got it fixed to where to be down when I go in because I'll have to be on the stand today. It's where I live. I mean, I'm not nervous about this. This is what I did for years. I'm just like, in what realm should this be part of your normal life, normal existence? Having your neighbor have such a meth addiction that they shoot at you and cause you to have to take them to court to tell them, hey, you know something? You can't shoot at me. You have a problem. We need to deal with it. Not my favorite thing to do. I'm not working anymore. I don't want to be anybody's social worker. I don't want anybody to be anybody's caseworker. I don't want to fix anyone. I'm barely keeping my own health together. I just want to exist and have a decently smooth life. But other people have other plans, so here I am going to court. Well, thank you. I don't look as bad. Of course, I washed off all my fake tan stuff, so I don't look as bad as I did yesterday. But I definitely have not rested. So, well, I just set that timer, so I'm going to get up and vamoose. I will check in when I get back from court. Yeah, check out Going Crochetzy. There's one that is just Sammy, Sammie. She's Australian, and she's got a really awesome channel. She's got a lot of followers, a lot of support, and she does market prep. She is just the sweetest thing ever. She's awesome. She does a lot. I'm not the fastest crocheter. I'm really slow compared to these people, but I'm trying to get better. And I enjoy it because I feel productive when I do it. So that's what I'm trying to do because I have not felt productive since I had to early retire and it irritated me. And sadly, when you work in the professional realm, all your friends are in the professional realm. When you're no longer in the professional realm, they just forget you exist. So you have to acclimate and change your entire life. And so I'm just trying to find things that I enjoy doing that keep me busy, make me feel productive and accomplished, and getting through the bad health weeks and trying to enjoy the good days that I have. That's kind of where I am right now. So, but off to court we go. I will update you when I get back. Let's just know what happened. I don't know how long I'm going to be there, and then after that, I need to go to the grocery store because where I'm not up here a lot, I don't have much food up here, so I've got to. So I've got to go to the grocery store and get me some Greek yogurt and stuff, and then I'm going to come back and maybe catch a nap because I certainly didn't sleep last night, and I'm swollen too. I'm still so swollen, so I'm not resting good. But we'll see. Just cross your fingers for me. I would if I thought they'd let me through the metal detector with my metal hook. I can't crochet with the plastic ones. They annoy the crap out of me and they squeak. So I don't think they would let me in with crochet. And I'm afraid the judge would think it's disrespectful. Of course, if he could read the bubble above my head what I'm thinking when I'm in there, he would know I'm being disrespectful. We have one of those funny little courtrooms. Well, I didn't primarily work here. I worked in 4 other counties. I babysat a caseload after a lady retired over here for a little while, but I didn't want to work where I live, but they made me babysit a caseload over here for a little while, and it's the oddest place ever. So, I don't know. They might. I'd probably work through this whole little, this is a tiny skinny yarn. I'd probably work through this whole little skinny yarn if they'd let me. I don't know. All you can do is tell me no. I can't imagine they'd be upset me packing in yarn. At least I'm not bringing in Marlboro Lights. I'm going to ask to go through the metal detector every 5 minutes. That's annoying. That's annoying. I know you're nervous. You probably need to smoke, but you're causing somebody a whole heck of a lot of issues. Have to go through that metal detector 50,000 times. I don't have any of those. No. I've got the plastic ones, but I don't like them. But I'm gonna see if he'll let me through. They mostly still know me up here, so I'm gonna see if they'll let me through. All they can do is tell me no. All they can do is tell me no and make me hand it to them. No. They can hang on to it and look crazy until I get back out of court. Okay, I'm going to head off, y'all. I will check back in when I get back. Let's just know how it went. I'm expecting not anything productive, not anything I want to happen, and her getting no help at all and just getting smacked on the wrist of me and told, be a good addict. She's close to 60 years old. She's been doing this about 30 years. I feel very sad about that because she could have a much better life. But then again, she has to choose to do that. So I'm not sure how today's going to go. I know that even as an officer, when I went into court, don't expect anything. Don't. So that's how I'm going in today, still in that mindset. And I'll spend some time there and see what happens. So I'll check in when I get back. Thanks for letting me vent. And I think I'm going to let David put this unicorn levy on his Etsy store when I get done with it because I don't know anyone else that needs it. And I made it and it's too big for what I wanted for the newborn. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it. And it'll be like a pre-K toddler-ish levy. I think I'm going to let him put it on his Etsy store. But if y'all haven't been to David's Etsy store, it's Hillbilly Heart Decor. Go check it out. It's got fur, art, crafts, and jewelry. I don't know exactly what all he's put on there right now, but I know he's got at least 20 or more items on there right now. Because he tries to keep around 22. So, okay, I'm leaving. I will check back in. Thank you. I hope it goes well. I'll let you know. Here goes nothing. Ugh.